and definitely very, very interesting journey that Poh have gone through. So Poh Choo, aka also known as Poh, has been in the program production for local channels and RWS for over 30 years. And she has taken roles like trainer, producer, production manager. I don't know, when she kind of mashed them all together, I always say, whoa, those roles are by no means light, you know. And then she has been production manager of local drama series like Under One Roof, Poh Choo, and a lot more, which she will share. Now, she's also been given a second chance in life, and social services is where she's in now. And she's going to share with you her journey in terms of how she stumbled into roles where roles were offered to her. All right, roles were offered to her because they saw that she fit the culture. So I think I won't steal the thunder, because if I read anymore, I'm basically just, you know, stealing everything away that you're going to share with everyone. So first person's perspective, right? The journey that she went through. So amongst us all equals, you know, can we really be ourselves? That was a question I posted to Poh when we were discussing about what to share from a first person's perspective. All right, so I'm gonna stop share here and then move quickly to her slide, and then we can share from there. Yeah. Okay, so hang on. Let me just stop share here. Okay.
Okay.
Let me just, yep. So while you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Aileen. Well, thank you for doing the slides for me. Hi, everyone. Thanks for spending the afternoon on a Wednesday. And basically, this session, it's about 20 minutes. And it's actually my journey. It's not the norm, but I hope, you know, it'll help you in terms of your job-seeking journey. So anyway, you can call me Poh Choo, or you can call me Poch. And yes, I do hold a number of titles. And these are some of the titles I have been doing right now. Basically, hosting, producer for a Breakfast with Poch virtual program. I'm also a stroke befriender, and I'm also a simulated patient. I will explain more in detail what those roles means. Maybe at the meantime, what we can do is if we can launch the first poll, a very simple general question. And then we can launch the poll, and the question is, how long does it take to know if you like your new job? First answer, a week. Second answer, 2 to 6 months, or the third, a year. If you can just now put in your answers in the poll.
Yeah. Wow, that was fast. I was gonna read, but okay. Looks like
you're multitasking, so I thought, you know, in the meantime, I'll just save a bit of time. So this is a very simple question. I think, you know, everyone will varies, whether you will take a week to get used to know your new job, 2 to 6 months, or over a year, or never will. I do not know, but these basically are the three choices. Once you have put your answers, we can view the poll.
Yes, I think we've got 77% have responded, and that's like 97 of you. So any more entries? I think we can kind of close the poll.
Yeah, we can close the poll, and we can review the final results. Okay, thanks, Ali. Okay, I think majority says 2 to 6 months. And a minority actually says over a year. Well, there is no right or wrong answer. Do you agree with me, Eileen, in this case?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So subjective.
Correct. And it's individual. You know, sometimes you can fit in so quickly, or it just is very difficult to fit in. So this is just something to start, so we get everybody back into the momentum. And I'll just carry on with the intro of myself. I've been working in the television industry for about 30 years. And this is sort of a timeline that I've broken up in three sectors. The first, when I started in the training department in the local TV station. I actually worked my way up from a production assistant. And I was to become a TV trainer and to train the production assistants in the station after I was sent to BBC training in London. After that, I moved on, which is the middle part of my part. I became a television producer and production manager for several program genres. As you can see this middle picture, I was in Manila and I was producing a drama series called Paradise. And then in the last sector of 30 years is basically I moved on and I went on to do events, to manage events like live concerts. Like you can see, that picture is actually Adam Lambert. He in his concert in 2011 in Universal Studios, Singapore. So this basically, I do more programs, but this is some of it. Change the slide, please, Eileen. Thank you. So these are some of the programs that I do, and the different genres, like for example, Under One Roof, and Poh Choo are under comedy, or you can do a drama series, or you can do a reality like Singapore Idol, or even do horror. These are the programs that I did, and in fact, Under One Roof and Poh Choo, it was done 25 years ago, but life it just goes in a circle, and now it's back at Netflix. Yes. And we used to produce these programs, and these were like people of a different generation. Now the youngsters are all aware of Under One Roof and Poh Choo because of Netflix. Yes. And after that,
you give yourself away. You say youngsters. You say we youngsters.
Yeah. Anyway. And I went on to do events. I actually did a Valentino retrospective at RWS. It's basically traveling costumes, the haute couture from Paris. I went to Brisbane and I went to RWS. And that was a 2 weeks exhibition, which I did. And also after that, I went on to back to production, something that I like, food. And I decided to combine production and food together. And I went to do food travelogue. And you can see one of the programs I was involved was actually with Martin Yen. Yeah. These are the span of 30 years. Next, please. Then, of course, after 30 years, it suddenly hit me without warning. I had a stroke in December 2013 in the office. I was admitted in the A&E. The doctor said I had ischemic stroke in my left brain. And once it affects your left brain, it's the opposite limbs that's affected. And this is due to the blockage of artery, which has affected my right limbs with weakness and no control. So after 6 months of rehab, I was able to walk and then write with my right hand. I was actually very thankful. And I thought, it felt like I was given, and I felt that, however, I felt I was not in a fit position to produce television programs. That's partly because when you do television programs, it's very long hours. And I don't have enough sleep as well. That's one of the reasons, cause of my stroke. Next slide, please. So given this second chance in life, I went to the stroke support and joined the Singapore National Stroke Association. And as a member, to participate in their programs, in their stroke rehab. And it was a wake-up call and to review my life. And that changed, I decided to change my lifestyle and to a more healthy lifestyle and at least have 8 hours of sleep a day. So it happened, there was an position opening at SNSA. I quit my television job and became a full-time staff at SNSA. So I still produce programs, but now organize activities and health talks on stroke awareness. I even volunteered as a stroke befriender, basically a stroke buddy at the hospitals to listen to stroke patients and in fact, encourage them not to give up. Having a stroke, there's still life after stroke. Next slide, please. So from organizing activities and spreading awareness and doing stroke befriending, I actually tried, with my years of experience of producing television programs, I tried my hand in fundraising at the association. And I organized a walkathon as well as a charity dinner. The 4 years at SNSA really taught me to be patient, understanding, and help out in the stroke community. It has actually sharpened my skills on empathy, compassion, and encouragement. I left my full-time job earlier this year, because some personal reasons. I have to take care of my aged mom. But that doesn't mean, there's an opportunity. So I started volunteering to start a virtual program for stroke survivors and stroke caregivers. It's a platform for them to share and to learn from fellow survivors as well as caregivers. And it's called Breakfast with Poh Choo. It's an hour program once a month. Next slide, please. So in life, one doesn't know what jobs are out there and when they are available. So a step further, because of the culture fit, having been a stroke survivor as well as a caregiver, I was actually offered a part-time role to become a simulated patient. There are a lot of terms of this. It's sometimes called standardized patient or sample patient and patient instructor at these 3 medical schools. So basically, what is a simulated patient? So it's actually to simulate situations where you act as a patient for the medical students. So at the same time, you assess these medical students, areas they are good in and areas for improvement. So that basically is a simulated patient. So to explain more, next slide, please. Well, I took up this simulated patients because I hope to have better doctors in the future. It's not just doctors who are good in their diagnosis, but also a good amount of empathy, compassion, and understanding of their patients. So what I did was I attended this 5-day training before committing. Then each time when I'm given the role, I have about 12 students scheduled, and I will do the patient role. And it's a one-to-one, as you can see in the second picture, with the medical students for about 7 minutes. Then after that, we will move on to another room where you see the third picture, where the facilitator will lead, and it's actually a doctor, with the other students. So this is when we will assess during that 7 minutes, and they will give their views, and the simulated patient will also fill out a tablet to assess where the students did well and where could have been improved on. So that is the role of a simulated patient. Next slide. So before I move on to the last section, I thought we have a poll. This is poll number 2. Eileen, if you could just launch the poll, and I will read the question in the meantime. It's, can we really be ourselves? The first answer is no, better to fake it. Or 2, yes, just be yourselves. Or 3, it depends. So if you all can please put in your answers, and after that we can view the overall replies. So this is basically during the interview. So like, just to repeat, can we really be ourselves?
Yeah.
No.
I think we have quite, we've got like 70% of you have voted. Yeah. So 70%, any more last up? Okay, we're getting a few more entries. So no, better to fake it, or yes, be yourself, or depends. Looks like quite a lot of people have selected. Okay, so should we close the poll?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll be able to see the results on screen.
This
All of the above.
Yeah, this is very interesting. It says it depends. It depends on the situation, whether we really be in ourselves in that. Yeah. So I think it's a good poll, and it actually reflects correctly. Sometimes it really depends whether that role or that moment is this. Should you just see how the situation is? What do you think, Eileen?
Yeah, I think absolutely. But, I always say, well, without giving the cat, let the cat out of the bag. At the end of the day, knowing your professional identity is also knowing your natural self. So I think if I were to do the quiz, then I would definitely show my number 2. but there's always a big but, right? Big.
Yeah.
So we have to find a better way of showing it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, for me, I would also choose number two, which is just be yourself, because eventually it will reveal, what sort of person or what sort of personality you have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
stopping and closing the poll. Okay.
All right. Thank you. We move on. So just in summary, and also to recap what I've gone through. I've gone through very quickly, but just to show the transition that I made from TV to SNSA, because I fitted the culture. I produced television programs in the earlier part, and now I'm just organizing and coming up with program ideas for the social support programs. So that is that link. Number two, when it comes into an organization, it's a charity, it's always about fundraising. And I think it helped because I actually worked in the President's Star Charity, as you can see in the picture there, with the late President S.R. Nathan. And then from there, from television, I went to do social fundraising, which is, in some ways, there's a similarity. It's just that one is on TV, one is live. And the other one is, I suppose, being a stroke survivor, I do have the empathy and understanding in that. So I kind of fitted the transition from television to SNSA. So I actually did enjoy the work at SNSA as well. So now, next slide, please. So for the second transition from SNSA to part-time simulated, actually this one was stumbled upon really, because after that I went part-time to look after my mom, and someone from the healthcare professional actually says, you actually can be a simulated patient because you understand being a stroke patient, what it takes, and what, as well as a caregiver. So that role is what I am. And he also said, in terms of empathy, compassion, and understanding for a patient. So this is the part you had been before. So actually it would be very suitable to see how the doctors or the medical students, they react to talking to patients. So I took it on, and I'm really very glad I took it on because I never knew this role existed until earlier this year.
In a way, I'm glad these roles existed, right? Because we are not just teaching our doctors to be our future doctors, right?
Future doctors, yeah.
To be subject matter expert, but to also have that EQ and the soft skills, which really matters at the end of the day. Because otherwise, we will be all replaced by robots anyway. Yeah,
that's right. So sometimes doctors are good in their areas in terms of medical, as well as diagnosis. But sometimes some doctors do not have empathy for patients. And it's very sad as a patient because it's like, oh, the doctor is very quick. Okay, let me check. Okay, and then they don't really spend time to talk with you. But I am very lucky. I actually, to this day, I still keep in contact with my neurologist, and we still keep in contact. And then she always finds out how I'm doing, and anything I want to find out, she's always there to help me. So it's always good to have a good doctor and patient relationship and to maintain that. So just to move on to the next slide. Okay, I thought to end off, I would like to use this quote from Amy Cuddy. She is an American social psychologist, and I like it because I could relate to it. And it actually says, "So don't just fake it until you make it. Fake it until you become it." And I personally could relate it, but I will improve or maybe just change slightly the second line to replace fake it, change like this.
Yes. Ta-da!
And I will actually say, make it better until you become it.
Yes.
I think this one suits better, and it sounds better because sometimes you say fake it until you become it. It doesn't sound as good as make it better until you become it. So what do you think, Ely?
I love it. I love it. I think I better drop a note to Amy Cuddy. Let's have an updated version to her quote. Yeah, but I make a lot of reference to Amy Cuddy as well in a training in terms of, coming across as confident, and also more to keep yourself ready, right? There are certain poses that she suggested as well. But invariably, I think to get started, most of our confidence are usually shaken. So there are some things we need to do just to trick our body. I always say that we have to trick our body. But as what Poch was saying, if you stay in that state, then you are really fooling yourself, because you have not learned to adapt, which is what Serene has been advocating throughout her entire talk, right? It's all about adapting and adapting, and Steve has also mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I hope this quote helps you with your job seeking journey. And I'll end off with the last slide, please. So you can reach me at this LinkedIn address, or, as the market is soft right now because of the COVID-19. So why not spend your time and just be a volunteer? Because a lot of organizations, as well as charity organizations, they always require volunteers. And having been in SNSA, I would say to volunteer at SNSA. And if you can go to their SNSA website and just be a volunteer. So that ends my session. Thank you, everyone. Have a good end in 2020 and a good start in 2021. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been really good. I hope you guys enjoy her little sharing as well. Please give her some encouragement. Okay, give her some encouragement there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep. So